So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Global Convergence Webinar Series, where we bring together thought leaders and experts from different fields to explore the convergence of technology and business. My name is Tisha, and I'm delighted to be your host today. Today's session is titled Unlocking the Future, How Gen AI and AWS Cloud are Transforming Business. We have an exciting lineup of speakers who will share their insights on how generative AI, in combination AWS Cloud Solutions, is shaping the future of business globally. Before we begin, a few quick housekeeping notes. The session will run for about 90 minutes and we will have a Q&A segment towards the end. Please feel free to drop any questions in the chat box at any time, and we will address as many as possible during the Q&A session. Also, we'd love to hear from our audience for any Gen AI projects they have and share with our audience today during the Q&A session. So without further ado, I'm introducing our speakers for today's session. I will start with Valerio. So our first speaker today is Valerio Meucci. So Valerio is the go-to-market specialist for AWS Data and AI Services across EMEA region. He collaborates with the sales team to help customers unlock the value of their data and harness emerging technologies like generative AI. With the specialized expertise he has, Valerio bridges the gap between technical complexities and business needs, developing strategies to maximize market opportunities. We are also joined by Lucas Donoso Pérez, the sales manager at CMC Group Europe B.V. Lucas is passionate about managing tech documentation, moving from traditional methods to cutting-edge AI-powered solutions. Thank you both for joining today. And Valerio, would love to start the session with your presentation and hoping that you would cover the area like what are the key resources AWS are using with generative AI applications, primary business areas, impacting on various industries, and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much, Tisha.
Over to you, Valerio.
Thank you very much, Tisha, for the introduction. I will start sharing my screen. This would be perfect. Let me know if you can see the screen. Thank you for the introduction. As Tisha mentioned, I'm Valerio. I'm a go-to-market specialist for data and AI in AWS. And as you can see from this slide, the first use case for generative AI is generating images that make me look younger. That's a very important use case. But jokes apart, today I'm going to speak first part about generative AI in general, with mentioning a few trends around the topic. Then I will dive deep on how AWS can support customers with their generative AI projects. Then I will focus on some use cases that are important for generative AI across different industries, mentioning a few examples with two particular industries, which are financial services and retail. And finally, I will speak about what's next, both in terms of generative AI and in terms of what customers that have a generative AI project should do. Let's start speaking about generative AI in summary. I will not go too much into details in this because I know most of you know what generative AI is. Basically, is a type of AI which is able to create new content, content that can be images, text, music, video. So the difference between non-generative AI is precisely the capability of creating content, new content. But as non-generative AI is still powered by models, the difference is that these models, which are called foundational models, a large amount of parameters and are trained on a vast amount of data. And that's what makes the difference and gives the model the capability to perform complex tasks. Going into some trends, generative AI is bringing a lot of value. As you can see from this slide, it's adding trillions to the global economy. It's expected to have a market of more than 100 billion, and it's expecting to grow the global GDP at about 7%, which corresponds more or less to 7 trillion. Consider that the main barrier nowadays to adoption of generative AI is the cost of training model. But as soon as this barrier is passed, is solved, there will be the real explosion of generative AI where there will be value for the customer. Generative AI is impacting as well sector like investments. Since VC has increased their investment in generative AI fourfolds in the last 4 years, but also the job markets. And consider that it's estimated that 2/3 of the job will be directly affected by generative AI, which is good news and bad news, but the good part is that it's expected also to boost productivity of about 40% by 2035, which is where also the opportunity can lie, where the opportunity is. But generative AI application, everybody knows the power of a generative AI application, but I want to start mentioning some of the challenges that are behind the generative AI application, also based on my experience, on the experience talking with customer. Generative AI application is just the top of the iceberg, but what's behind is what's important as well. I've seen cases in which customers were not able to build a generative AI application because they were lacking the data foundation. Data is what enables generative application to exist and what brings value. And data, of course, it's the whole data strategy, the whole data foundation that starts from the storage, where the data is stored, and the governance, so who is able to access the data, and then the different services around data, which includes acting on the data, like with analytics, database, and the integration of the data of the different sources. Lacking this can lead to not having the possibility of building a generative AI application. And it's important that the data of the customer is the real differentiator within the different generative AI application, because without the customer data, it's just a generic generative AI application, which becomes which brings more value to the customer once it's integrated with the customer's data. So this is one of the challenges that I will show in a while. And how can it be integrated with the customer data? There are a few ways. I'm going quickly through this, but of course, if you want to know more, feel free to ask later. But basically, there are more less invasive steps like RAG, retrieval augmented generation, which doesn't require to change the foundation model, but still adjust the output based on the existing customer data. Then there are more invasive and complex ways like fine-tuning, which require precisely to fine-tune the model, the foundational model, with a set of the customer data. And then there is continued pre-training, which is basically it's continuing to train the foundational model even after it is released and used by the customer. This allows to use up-to-date data for the foundational model. Very quickly, this is how the data can be used to adjust generative AI application. And Gen AI is what led to an excitement. We are in an age of excitement, as the slide mentions. We have seen an increase of companies that have shifted their mindset to be data-driven, so to have to be aware that they need a data foundation. As you can see from customers that we have surveyed, 93% of them knows that a data strategy is needed to have value from a generative application. But the challenge is that not many customers are there, because most of people think, okay, I will need a generative application, but they don't think what's behind, what's the bottom of the iceberg. And as you can see, only 37% of customers surveyed think they are ready to build a generative AI application. So this is a very important point that I wanted to mention when talking about generative AI, which is data strategy, and data foundation. But I want now to dive deeper on how AWS can support customers to build their generative AI project. And to do so, I need to start mentioning the different kind of users that there are for generative AI, starting from the builders. Builders are those that build foundational models, as the word suggests, and they have, of course, deep and machine learning expertise. Then there are the consumers, which can be both advanced consumer and consumer. The advanced consumer is the one that fine-tune the foundational model built by the builder for a specific use cases, while the consumer is the one that use this foundational model to build an application. And then there is the end user. The end user is the one without any ML expertise, that just want to consume the application, to use the application to derive business value. And this is important because the AWS offering, how AWS can support change depending on which type of user there are. So the generative AI stack has different flavors depending on the type of user, depending on the size of the company, depending on the team, and so on. And diving a bit deeper into the 3 tiers, I will start from the bottom. At the bottom, there is the tier that is intended for the builders. So basically, AWS can provide all different services for a company to build their own machine learning model, which can be the bare infrastructure. So we provide cheap, both purpose-built for training model and for deriving inference, like as you can see, training or inference. But we also provide a service built on top of it that is basically an end-to-end machine learning service that is called SageMaker, that support the builder to precisely build, train, and deploy machine learning model at scale, including foundational models. And it's basically a single point for the builder that provides the flexibility needed to build new models from scratch. But going to the next type of user, the consumers, just for a quick mention, the builder is probably the most rare of the customer that we see. The majority is rather other consumers that want to build an application or end users. For the consumers, we have the second tier of the stack, which is the tools that we provide to customers to build foundational models. And the product that we offer is called Bedrock, which is a fully managed service that gives access to already existing foundational models from leading AI companies, for example, Anthropic, Meta, Mistral, Stability, and also to native AWS foundational models. So the customer has the flexibility to choose on which model to build their application, and they can also have the flexibility to switch from one model on the other, depending on the different needs, which can be cost, can be speed, performance, and so depending on the needs, they have the flexibility to change model. And this service is also integrated with some feature, like as I mentioned before, it allows to develop RAG, or it allows to customize the model thanks to fine tuning, and so it allows to leverage customers' data to improve the models, the application. Just one thing that I want to mention, that all these services, including the one, are built taking into account safety, security, and privacy. So basically, the data that the customer's data are not used to train the foundational models. And when the customer uses its data to fine-tune the model, a copy of the model is made in a private version, in a virtual private cloud. So there is no sharing of customers' data with the foundational model, or not sharing of the customer data. So this is important to remember, and this is true also for this last year that AWS offer in the generative AI stack, which is the final application. The final application, it's the service, it's called Amazon Q, which is basically a generative AI powered assistant already built. So the customer doesn't have to choose a foundational model, doesn't have to create it, but this is already built and can, of course, be adjusted with the customer's data as well. And it has different flavors as well, depending on the users. For business users, there is Amazon Q Business that allows to retrieve customer data. So it allows to search within the data, to have a summary of it. It allows to create content, extract insight, and is supported by Amazon Q in QuickSight. QuickSight is AWS Business Intelligence Services, and Q on QuickSight allows to perform, thanks to natural language processing, to perform some action like building visuals, building calculation, or understanding data, getting summary, simply by asking to Q to do these tasks. Then we have the version for developers, which, as mentioned, it just support developers in their main activity, like building code, troubleshooting, migrating code, and so on. And finally, we have the version for specialized user, which is Amazon Q and Connect. Connect is AWS Contact Center as a Service service, precisely, and Amazon Q in Supply Chain, which is precisely for supply chain. Now I want to go more into details on what are the different use cases in which generative AI use and the service that we have seen can be used on. I want to start by saying that there are basically 4 pillars in which generative AI has the potential to create significant business value. One is about creating new experience, and new experience can be both for customers and employee. Imagine customers and employee interacting with conversational interfaces to get information about a product or to get internal information. This provides a new experience to customer and employee. Then it boosts employees' productivity, because, for example, they can easily search within a huge amount of content, or they can generate content easily. And the other way in which it can create business value by providing insights, as we saw before, Amazon Q Business and Amazon Q for QuickSight, they can support on this as well. And finally, creativity, since it can be used to create new content, but also to ideate new product, develop new product, and so on. I want to quickly show some use cases that are valid and good for across all the industries, and again they can be classified. There are use cases for enhancing customer experience, like chatbots, virtual assistants. These are things that every kind of industry, every company, regardless of the industry, can use. Imagine a website having the support for customer, implementing a chatbot there. That's good for all the industry. Then boosting employees' productivity and creativity as well. This is useful across industries, like summarizing documents or researching within the data, the customer's data, getting insight out of it. And finally, optimizing business processes as well. Again, regardless of the industry, all the companies need to process document or need to optimize processes. So this can be helpful for all the companies across industries. And then there are more specific use cases. I don't want to spend too much time on all of this. I just wanted to show you that there are use cases that are typical for a specific industry, like, for example, medical imaging. Imagine generating new images, medical images, or enhancing a clinical trial. These are typical for healthcare. Or predictive maintenance and having a virtual assistant that provide all the information around the maintenance. This is typical for industry. Sorry? I'm sorry, I heard someone.
Please go on.
Yeah. And finally, some use case specific for media, such as getting content tagged automatically. These are more specific, but I want now to focus a bit on 2 industries which are very relevant when talking about generative AI, which is financial service, and then I will talk more about retail. Financial service, we have seen there are studies that shows that banking industry can unlock value of between 200 and 300 billion annual value, which is a margin of 3 to 5% thanks to generative AI. And they can use traditional AI ML and generative AI. Generative AI can support for new use cases like hyper-personalized messaging to customer, but at the same time, it can even enhance existing AI and ML use cases that banking are already using. Let's think, for example, of call center intelligence. Not only they can get sentiment analysis of what's the conversation of the customer was, but they can also query about information, insight out of the call and so on. So the combination of the two is what's bringing value to the financial services. When we talk about financial services, there are different branches which go from banking, payments, capital market, and insurance. I want to show some use cases specific for each of them with also some customer story. I want to start from banking. Some of these use cases that you can see for banking are mentioned here, and they start from the onboarding process of the customer, thanks to, for example, OCR, to accelerate the onboarding process, like the loan origination, thanks to document processing, but also decision about credits, because they can, as you can see in the next use cases, like the machine learning can be leveraged to identify to take decision about based on previous data on what the credit score is, to assess which customer to give loan and so, but even fraud detection, customer interaction, and personalized recommendation. And I want to talk about one case about a bank, NatWest, that started to implement generative AI on AWS to deliver hyper-personalized customer experience. So the idea is to have Bedrock, that was the service that was used, to provide content that is hyper-personalized to customer, but at the same time to get approval of content in an automatic way. So not only personalizing the content to the customer, but also optimizing business processes and giving to the customer a better experience, because thanks to ML, they managed to queue the message for the contact channels, and they managed to deliver a personalized message to the customer. It helped to increase the number of account applications they've got of 900%, because a customer having a personalized message is more keen to click and to buy the product. As you can see, the other target that was reached is the four times improvement of the click-through rates. And this thanks to the implementation of generative AI for delivering a personalized, hyper-personalized message to the customer. Moving to payments, some use cases, as you can see, are similar, such as fraud prevention, which of course is something very relevant for all financial services, and credit scoring as well. It's another important use cases across the different branches, but there are also some new use cases, some such as multi-routing, which is very specific for payment. And this can again be obtained by the combination of AI and ML services and generative AI. And I want to think in this case of an open banking platform that enable payments, which is Think. Think used not Bedrock in this case, but it's SageMaker for internal optimization. So thanks to SageMaker, they managed to build a machine learning model in hours instead of week. So this is allowed to Think to experiment with machine learning modeling and getting, of course, that will be used to analyze new patterns in bank transaction, to fraud identification. But so they used to build the model themselves, but in a more accelerated way. So saving a lot of optimizing processing, that's saving a lot of time to their employee. Then The other branch of financial services is capital market. Again, there are some of the use cases that are in common, but there are some other new ones, such as research. It's super important for capital markets, and thanks to generative AI, they can accelerate document processing, and they can easily query and get answer within their documents. So it increases the knowledge that they can have and simplify achieve the retrieval of their document, but also suggesting trades, executing algorithms, so it helps them to carry out all the activity needed for capital markets to perform their action. And one of the customer we have is Bridgewater, which built using Amazon Bedrock an investment analyst assistant. It's basically an assistant, like a person, but instead of having someone doing this job, there is an application that supports, using in this case Anthropic's Claude, that supports the analysts in their investment decisions. So basically they can have a conversational application to whom interface, to whom interact with, to get help with the complex visualization, with analysis, and this, of course, it's reduce the time that, for example, is needed to generate chart or summary table by 75% or even more. So this is the impact that Bridgewater got out of this. Finally, the last branch of financial services is insurance. And again, I will repeat it, but there are some use cases that are common across financial services, but someone that is different, like personalized rates, thanks to machine learning model that can assess the risk of the different set of customers, or claims processing. And one of our customers is John Hancock, that used machine learning to personalize both customer and employee experience, thanks to the developing of a chatbot that allows to have conversational interaction both with customers and with employees, allowing customer to get the benefits of more easy interactions, rather than having to wait for employees to be available, and so this is streamlined as well the operations of John Hancock. Before moving to retail, I want just to mention some key considerations that are very important for financial service. First of all, security, and this is something that I mentioned before. I want to mention that AWS, for AWS security is job zero, so it's at the beginning, and all traffic is transferred over private and secure network links. So these are elements that we take into consideration when supporting financial service customer. But then there are also other security features, like governance, who is authorized to access data, data protection as well. Data needs to be encrypted. On the other side, there are also some other consideration in terms of auditability, the governance of the model of the application, the generative AI application. And again, it's important that the application is auditable, that it's possible to explain how the model works, that it's possible to model the monitor and how it works, and how the data is used, and so on. And these are all elements on which AWS can support the customer, and is supporting financial service customer. And moving to retail, and I try to speed up as well. There are three main aspects in which retail needs generative AI for to the support from generative AI. One is for customer, one is for product, one is for employees. So I always think, okay, if I had like 1,000 interns, what would I let them do? So I can think of, okay, they can write product descriptions, they can send product recommendations to customer, they can develop images, and so on. Well, this is something that generative AI can do instead of having 1,000 of employees, interns, who is now doing those kind of tasks. So this slide summarize the four, if we also include the IT, the four sides in which generative AI can support brands and retail companies, starting from IT. They can be, of course, as I mentioned before, when I was talking about Q for developers, code generation, text to SQL. This is something that generative AI can support, and our use cases across the industry. Customer, when we talk about customer, it's important that the customer support both at the contact center level, so for customer support precisely, but also for marketing to send personalized recommendation, but also in the shopping side. And as we will see in a while, the customer might need support in their shopping experience and so on. Product-centric. As I told you before, if I had 1,000 interns, what can they do? Writing a product description, generating imaging of product, price matching. This is all some specific use case that generative AI is capable of performing at the product level, and then the employee level to support the employees and to boost their productivity. And just to provide some example, one of the most common is knowledge management and summarization and business process automation. But going more into some specific example, imagine that you are a retail company that wants to advertise a specific product. Imagine taking photo of the product with different background up to before generative AI was here to support. There was the need of having someone taking photo of that product in different location. Imagine, for example, Corona taking all this photo, hiring someone going to all of these different beaches to take a photo of the product. Well, this is now done in minutes thanks to generative AI. This is one of the use cases that generative AI can help with and that AWS can support with. And talking about another customer, which I think is very iconic because it's one of the biggest retail company that we have, and it helps me to provide to explain the value that AWS can give in generative AI is precisely Amazon. Amazon is implementing, of course, generative AI within their services, both, for example, for product content, because generative AI can be used to create from scratch a listing, a description of the content of the product. For product search, because instead of having, as we will see in a second, instead of having the normal user search bar, it's possible to have a conversational search of a product. Imagine instead of saying black shoes, I talk about, okay, having a shoe that I can wear with these that are sportive and so on. This is a use case that is being implemented by Amazon. Review summary, it helps to understand the different review in seconds instead of going through all of them. And fit recommendation, thanks to generative AI, is possible to get a recommendation on our product fit, not only in the person, but also as well in a specific location in an area, imagine furniture. And these are some innovative services that Amazon is built on AWS, which means that they can be built by any retail company. One is Rufus, which is an expert shopping assistant. Basically, as I was mentioning before, now it's possible, thanks to generative AI, to have a conversational search and help. Basically, as shopping assistant, instead again of searching a specific keywords, it's possible to include a prompt that will allow the application to look within all the Amazon product or the customer's product and provide recommendation based on that. Another example is Amazon Pharmacy, which basically is implementing By the way, Rufus is still in beta, just for your information. Amazon Pharmacy is a conversational chatbot that allows customer to speak and allows also the health people to get easy access to knowledge, and it allows to increase the order processing of 90% because it provides patients with transparency, it provides the information about the product and so on. It simplifies the instruction, the prescription. Another service is Amazon Ads, another use case, which is content generation. We have seen that the main pain point for retail companies is precisely the creation of content, because the click-through rates can be 40% higher when there is a story behind rather than a normal image. And of course, building, as we have seen for Corona, building a story or can be costly. But in these cases, with generative AI, this can be done in minutes, and the save of cost, of course, is impressive. And finally, another use case is for music. It's possible still conversationally to create playlists based on simple prompt, like, okay, I want to hear music to go to sleep, and then it will generate a whole playlist. I will try to accelerate a little bit, but these are the use cases for financial service retail. So I want to see what's next. We have seen now that all the most important thing within generative AI is the inclusion of agents. Agents are basically tools that take complex tasks, perform complex tasks end to end. So the advent of agents is gives precisely the possibility of have an end-to-end workflow automation. And so this is why they are here to stay, and this is why that's the next step. That, of course, they're already here, but it will be an increased focus on that. Multimodal is also another very important aspect, because it's important that models accept any kind of input types, but also they deliver any kind of output type. So having a conversational chatbot where I can have photos and that build a video out of it. Another important thing is to have multiple models. This allows customer to have flexibility. As I mentioned before, for Bedrock, the possibility of access different foundational models depending on the need. One can be having better performance, but one can be cheaper. So the ability of the customer to choose which model to select will allow us to optimize the use of generative AI. And finally, having clear AI policies as standard and going through ethical generative AI. In terms of moving with generative AI, it is important to select the right use cases. So the customer needs to understand not only the technology behind it, but understanding if the project is feasible, the budget, the return on investment, the risks out of it, what's the timeline. So there is the need of understanding all these parts before moving to build a generative AI application. The second step is ensuring that all the team has the right tools and trainings for that. So assessing the skills that the team has, building up in case the team is missing some of the skills, and validating the expertise once achieved. And these are also steps in which AWS can support as well. And finally, get started on the top use cases. It means having always the eyes open on what's there. The culture needs to be of having in mind generative AI, and it's also important to consider that no one size fits all, meaning that, as I mentioned, there must be flexibility of having different models for different use cases. As I mentioned, this links to the flexibility is key, and this is what also we are focusing on with products such as Bedrock, providing access to different foundational models. And then finally, it's important to listen to the need of the customer or internal needs, and starting from them to enable the team and the company to use the right tools to build a generative application. And this is it. And thank you very much for the attention.
Yeah, thank you so much, Valerio. I think it was an incredible, insightful session. You already have 3 questions in the chat box. So I would I would just give you some breathing space just to have a long breath so that you can answer all these questions. In the meantime, I would now shift the focus to Lucas. I think in the meantime, whenever you are ready to answer the questions, we can start with Lucas. Lucas, over to you. I know CMC Group is not a small group of companies. It's a big group of companies across Europe and across the globe. And they specializes in precision driving, technical writing, and translation services. And your company caters to dynamic industries, including automotive, machinery, and pharmaceutical, and office automation. And as a consumer, you can share the consumer perspective. And I would love to know, with your experience in digital transformation, where do you think the biggest challenge lies whenever adopting generative AI for business?
Well, thank you, Valerio, for all the very nice presentation. It was insightful, as Tisha said. The biggest challenges that we are facing for the generative AI for businesses is mostly what I said. Valerio touched some points there. So it's important, as he mentioned, that is the data quality and availability of the data. Without data, there is no generative AI. So it's important to have good data, and also that's one of the struggles that most of the companies are facing, is that this technology is very new, and the data that we were using in the past was not taking into consideration what AI was. So there is fragmented data, is siloed data, is incomplete data. So it's one of the biggest challenges that the businesses are facing at the moment. Another could be that since the technology is very new, there is talent shortage. So the demand for a skilled AI professional far exceeds the supply. So there are a lot of companies like CMC Group that when we started learning a couple of years back about AI, we all wanted to jump in the wagon of AI, but you need to find the proper partners. You need to understand how AI works, and there are no many people, many companies, many vendors that they can provide you with a proper AI talent. So that's also one of the issues that many companies in Europe are facing. Related to the data quality, and is also the integration with legacy systems. Being the technology very new, our systems, they are not compatible with AI. So that requires a lot of investment and IT infrastructure and modernization of those systems. And doing that costs a lot of money. So it's building and deploying this type of generative AI solutions. They can be expensive. So that's why it's. I think that Valerio also touched base on that. It's important to start with top cases and really focus on focus on a small and then escalate later on when necessary. And also, as I said, Europe being an all continent is also changing the mentality of the management and the executives and everyone in the company. So many of the organizations face internal resistance to adopt these technologies, because why should I change to this if I've been doing my job for many years doing the same way? So and also people will fear that there is job displacement. So, for example, Valerio mentioned you could have an assistant to do this, and you back in the days was a person. Now it's an application. So when you drop it like that, it could be very shocking to some people in the companies. So that's also another challenge that we are facing. And in Europe, we have also, and this happening in the US and as well, but in Europe we have the GDPR regulation, and it's very important for when you are considering building generative AI. Very important to have to be compliant with the regulation and try to always build something, an AI, ethical AI. So those are the challenges that the businesses are currently facing in Europe. Talking from experience, those are the challenges that we are facing. So indeed, it's the data quality, it's the talent shortage, the integration with the legacy system, the cost, the regulatory compliance, and changing the management and changing the internal culture to embrace the AI.
Yeah, very important points, Lucas. Thank you for sharing. I think we also face the same, difficulties that you have pointed out throughout Europe. The resistance is quite high in terms of, there are legacy applications, and we have been getting a lot of requests around, legacy application to application modernization kind of a scenario. And then comes the generative AI part. That's pretty much the next level. So if we consider the digital transformation that AI is driving, what do you think would be the key benefits if the businesses can adopt generative AI in the long run?
Talking from experience again, when we started learning about generative AI and AI in general, what we want to avoid is to do all these repetitive tasks. We all at our jobs, we have repetitive tasks that we need to do. And that's one of the key benefits that the AI is bringing, is to the automation of those repetitive tasks. So that improves efficiency and reduce operational cost, and it allows us to invest that time that we are saving from those repetitive tasks to invest it in something else. So that's one. Valerio also touched base on the personalization, and he calls it hyper personalization. Indeed, that's what you can see in many sectors. For example, he mentioned Amazon as a service. There's also other services in Europe that they are doing the same, personalizing based on the customer use. So you start buying certain type of clothes. The next time that you log in, there is already some personalization there that they show you, hey, you bought this, so you might like these products as well. So and that's focusing on marketing and customer services. So it's just analyzing how the behavior and the preferences of the users, and providing a better personalized experience. So that's another benefit that the AI is bringing. The other one could be, because it's also Valerio also touched base on that, is the product and service innovation. So you can use generative AI to design and develop new products or enhance the current products that you have. You can create prototypes. You can optimize production, and also accelerates the R&D processes. So that's another benefit. And in cases like us that we are dealing with a lot of languages in Europe, is also the scalability and flexibility. So having multilingual chatbot, for example, it reduces the amount of queries that you are getting from all the countries in Europe. It helps in customer service, and it helps you to handle a huge amount of queries 24/7. So those are also benefits that the AI is bringing. And also we at CMC Group are analyzing all of those and trying to use those both internally and for our customers.
Awesome. I think these are a few of the strategies your guys are adopting. So do you have any specific strategies in mind where you think CMC Group as a whole would be taking for consideration to sort of navigate the challenge of digital transformation with AI?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if I am in a position to suggest anything, because I'm also very new to this technology. But what we are doing at CMC Group is that we are carefully planning and executing the AI, the use of the AI that we use. So a couple of projects that we have where we have embraced AI is we started with clear objectives. What we want to do. Can AI help us and identify the clear, measure the goals and specific cases? That's my recommendation to anyone that wants to embrace AI and start working with AI is not try to do everything at once. So I want AI to do my job, but I want AI to do one task of my job and try to get better
Wonderful.
on that.
I think, yeah, it's very important. Yeah, it's also very important to understand what is the expectation from AI, because most of the time what happens, since it's a fancy, like, term generative AI, people always expect more for magical stuff happening around. So most of the cases, people have a clear bound from this generative AI solutions. So I think it's very important that you mark that to understand and also set a requirement for yourself, like what is the expectation from the solutions, so that you can bring the right results for the business benefit, right? You also already mentioned, so across your company, what are the Gen AI solutions you guys are planning to sort of adopt to, or all over Europe? What are the Gen AI solutions you are seeing a lot of adaptation going on? You already mentioned chatbot, so yeah.
Yes, yeah. There are many others, like Valerio mentioned, for example, is the media marketing. So you know that many big companies, big corporations invest millions of millions on generating marketing content and create social media, create blogs. So AI is helping those companies to reduce the cost and be quicker in providing those materials. There is also in the manufacturing sector. So there are people that are using generative AI to create designs to optimize the engineering processes. As Valerio mentioned as well, the pharmaceutical companies. So they are using AI to simulate molecular structures, for example, or accelerating the creation of the discovery of new drugs, which in the end will help us all. And we mentioned the e-commerce and retail. So, for example, there are companies here in Europe like Zalando and H&M that they are using these technologies as well. As I said, you buy 2 shirts in one color, the next ones, it will be similar patterns, similar brands, and it will provide you like, hey, I like this. So this website knows what I like, so it avoids that previous pains of going through list scrolling of products. Financial services, Valerio explained it very well, very detailed. Also in the gaming and the entertainment industry, we all use Netflix, we all use Prime Video, we use many systems. So once you like one series, once you like one film, you get recommended data. It's all based on AI. And also another sector could be the legal sector. We all need to deal in our companies with contracts. So generative AI is helping you navigate through the legalese, the legal language, and helps you out to identify if there is an issue or if there is any discrepancy, or all those types of difficult topics to analyze. So those are the solutions that the companies in Europe and all over the world are exploring at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lucas. I think the experience that you have shared, it's enormous and it's very beneficial, to be very honest. I think as a consumer perspective, this is something another consumer might get.
I lost you there, Tisha.
Yeah, same.
So now, yeah, sorry.
You're back.
So now, am I audible?
Yeah. Yes,
okay,
you're back.
Great. So now I'm just moving back to Valerio with the questions. The first question from Mohammad Zakir Hussain. I think he asked about how can I identify the appropriate model that would be suited for my data, or is there any specific AI model for a specific data type? Valerio.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you, Mohammed, for the question. So to answer to the question, there isn't a one-size-fit-all approach. So it's not like, okay, for this data type is better this model or better the other model, because there are multiple models suitable for the different data type. What is important once to assess what's the best model to use is to understand what's the business value that you want to achieve out of the model. What is your objective out of it? Do you want a model that is cheap because it's not intended for production, for example, or do you need the a model that is suitable for generating images? It really depends on what's your business value, what you want to achieve out of the model, and do you need a multimodal model? Taking into consideration, working backwards, starting from the objective that you want to achieve, and based on that, assessing the different models. And it's important to have the flexibility of and the possibility of using many different models to understand what's the most suitable for your use case. There are tools that can, of course, support in this. For example, Bedrock has a tool that is called Model Evaluator, which, as the name suggests, help the customer to choose the best model for their use cases. But still, it's important to understand what's the business value that you want to get out of it. And my other suggestion is to test. You have the possibility with AWS, of course, I speak for AWS because that's what I know more. But we have the possibility to try different model. So you can test. You can run POCs for one model and adjust on the go using a different model and see that if it brings better value for what you want to achieve. So this is my suggestion. There isn't a one-size-fits-all answer, but rather be flexible to adjust your model on the go and be aware at the very beginning of what's the objective and the business value that you want to achieve.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So I think, yeah, thank you, Mr. Zakir. So next question is from Matthias Hunch. So he asked, like, at our end, we have to decide on the solution path. For example, AWS SageMaker is one option. Do you provide reference cases considering all decision criteria, and why then to choose the AWS path? Thanks.
If you reference cases, you means like use cases, customer cases, definitely these are available. And if you get in conversation with us, we are very happy, of course, to provide the most suitable use case based on your specific case. Even in this case, there isn't a one solution fit all approach, meaning that it is important to understand what is your specific situation at the moment, what is it that you want to achieve, what is your data foundation, because also that's changed the approach that you might need. And of course, based on all this information, all specific information, AWS definitely has use cases, reference cases to provide to support you taking a decision on which one is the best approach. Also consider that using SageMaker rather than Bedrock, for example, it's also a decision depending on how you or what's your stage at machine learning knowledge. Do you have a team that has machine learning expertise? Are you able to develop a model? Do you have the capabilities in-house? Or do you need more flexibility, which SageMaker provides you compared to Bedrock, but at the same time you need to have a higher expertise compared to Bedrock. So these are all elements that should be taken into consideration when making a decision if using SageMaker, Bedrock, or Q. As going back to the slide that I was sharing, depending on the type of user you are, and you can then choose the different flavors that AWS offer for generative AI solutions.
Great. Matthias, do you have any other question with addition to it? I think we can move forward to our next question by Mohammad Mizanur Rahman. So he mentioned, we know generative AI is disrupting everywhere. You have shared multiple cases as well, but from your experience, any specific segment you want to mention specially and why? And how can AWS partners play a supporting role there?
Yes. So I think based on experience, based on interaction with customers, specific, if I understood correctly, when you say segment, like specific use case within a certain industry, I think the ones that mostly are benefiting or is starting to interact with this are, for example, customer support, sales, or marketing. Customer support, because as we saw now, more and more companies are using chatbot, AI-powered contact center, and this is to allow to give the customer a better experience. So this is one of the main use cases that we see chatbot, but even internal chatbot. Nowadays, we see a trend in companies wanting to help the employees in getting access to the knowledge in an easy way. Instead of reading thousands of documents, now an employee can ask a question and understand internal policies, for example. So this is another segment, another area in which we see a massive use of generative AI. And then sales and marketing, because sales, it helps sales team to prioritize customer to reach out their own customer, but it also helps them to build the right message to the right customer. And this is as well for marketing, as we saw before for Corona, for example. Marketing can now generate content in minutes instead of having someone taking photos, building videos, writing description. It can be done easily in minutes, and so this is one one of the use cases we see the most. And the reason why is that because this is help to the main categories that we saw before: enhance customer experience, boost employees' productivity, and optimize processes and improve creativity. So when everything that falls within this is why customers are doing this. And to answer to your last question, how AWS partners can play supporting role there, they are crucial, I think, to support customers in building their solution. And Tisha knows more than me for sure, as being Brain Station 23 partner of AWS. It is crucial for companies to allows to get the support of partners in achieving their goal. We provide the support in terms of solutions, but then partners are there to enhance the solutions and to implement it, to support customer implementing it.
Yeah, I think, you rightly mentioned that partners can play a big role, and already being a AWS partner, we have been connected with a lot of customers to provide solutions. I think before moving on to the panel discussion kind of a session, I would love to open the speaking opportunity for our audiences. If anyone want to share any specific project of theirs who have done AI projects. So I think Mr. Tamid has already mentioned that he's working on AWS Lex and AWS Lambda. Mr. Tamid, would you like to share the use case that you were talking about?
Yeah,
Feel free
thank
to.
you for So Valerio, I am building a voice bot. So I'm using AWS
your
Connect
experience.
and AWS Lex, and there is AWS Lambda for in. So what issue I'm facing is that basically I'm building a generative bot. So the issue is I'm facing that the STT speech to text capability of AWS Lex in my case was a bit low. So I want to fine tune it, or is there any way to configure the STT, or can I use something outside of Amazon in this case? Do you have any answer for this question?
So I'm happy to refer these questions to one of our solutions architects that can definitely get a better understanding, even better. I can put you in contact with us, one of our solutions architects, so you can provide additional informations around the specific use case, and they can provide this further information on how to more on the technical side on this. So I'm happy to put you in contact with a solutions architect for this.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. So yeah, I think later after this session, we would connect you with the solution architect so that we can get all the necessary support, and also Brain Station 23 would be happy to provide support in that area as well.
Yeah.
So any other anyone else want to share any project or success stories regarding generative AI?
Yeah, can I share my screen? I want to share. I want to show my. Yeah, the share option is disabled.
Yeah, just allow us 1 moment. Sharing. Yeah, now you can share.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
So yeah, we have built a chatbot for our client Nicholas. So this is a it's a Swiss company. So basically, they sell showers. So we have built this chatbot for their customer support. So it's a multilingual bot. You can see there's for a new user, there are some questions to get started. So we are so it can answer any kind of questions about their products, how to install a new product or any kind of things. So suppose someone wants to start a new conversation, he can do. And there are there are different kinds of showers. So you can see that you can see the leaf shower in the back. So if I ask, do you have any kind of leaf showers? So yeah, so it gives the answers in the product description in a card way. So you can see yeah, for a moment yeah. So you can see that these are the products they have in their inventory. So we are grabbing the information from their database and showing it. And you can also ask any kind of like how to install a shower. So it has also chat history. So I just used the last product. So you can see it's Sleeps Cascade Matte Black. So it's referring me to that, and I can get the instruction manual. So yeah, so this is our chatbot, and we are building it. We are upgrading it. So thank you for giving me the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is cool. I mean, yeah, this is how generative AI is actually making customers' life easy, and also helping the manufacturer to sell more. So the business automatically gets the benefit, and customers automatically get the benefit of the time saving options and other life-saving options as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Tamit, for sharing. Anyone else want to share their projects or any other information regarding generative AI?
Yeah, I want to share another project. Can you please allow me to share my screen?
Yes, Mr. Abu.
Yeah.
In a moment. Thank you. Yeah, done. Please.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so basically, this project is it's a co-pilot for content creators, like people who makes videos for YouTube or TikTok. Okay,
Awesome.
so what we do is let me open a project. And what we do is we guide them through creating their whole project or whole video. So first we take different inputs from the user, like what kind of video it is, what kind of things are you trying to sell, and what features will be there, what qualities will be there in the video. And then what we do is we take the component description as well. So based on all these parameters, like the video description, the demographics, and video text, and everything, there are a lot of parameters. First, we suggest videos to them, like the pre-existing videos on YouTube and other platforms that you can create your videos according to these videos. So it's basically done using LLMs, obviously, LLMs and other Gen AI tools. And then we guide them to make a creative brief and eventually a video script. Let me just show the video. Yeah, here's a video script for, like, there will be different scenes and shots, and what would be the voiceover in the shots. All these are getting generated by LLMs. And then finally, actually it takes some time to, like, generate these things. These things are pre-generated. That's why I'm able to show it this fast. What we do is we generate a storyboard for them, and in the storyboard there will be like multiple shots and images as in to guide the creator to create the video. Like, you can create your video like this. The first shot will be this, and the shot, the examples will be like this. So yeah, this is basically the whole process. And these images are getting generated by Gen AI image generation models. Yeah.
This is super cool. Thank you so much, Mr. Abu, for sharing. I think it's an interesting project, and lots of agencies are looking for it for sure. So thank you so much for sharing once again. And I think now we can move back to Lucas and Valerio with the discussion. I think I will do only 3 questions to you. So first would be, what are the critical skills and mindset that leaders need to develop, right, to effectively leverage AI in their digital transformation efforts? Because this is a mindset that we need to adopt.
Leo, you go first, please.
Yes. So I think you touched a very important aspect, which is precisely the mindset. So when creating a generative application, but even before a data strategy, it's not just important to have the right technology, but it's important to have the right mindset, the right people and processes, and the right technology in place. So this is I think this is crucial to be able to develop the right data strategy and the right generative application. Sorry for that. So what is important is, first of all, it's to think big goals. This is an important mindset, but at the same time to start small, because as Lucas was mentioning before, one of the things that many customers tend to do is, okay, I want to have generative AI implemented in all aspects of my company, my processes. That's a think big mindset, but it's important not to start with everything. So it's important to start with POC, to, for example, as mentioned before, to understand which model is the right one, to understand what's the right approach in terms of data foundation, how to integrate the data, and so on. So to understand a number of things, and then scale fast once it's there is a POC in place. Once it starts, the starting point is tested, let's say, and it's working, then to scale and expand it. So this is, in my opinion, is an important mindset to have.
Yeah, definitely. From my side, what I will say, since technology is also very new, is to have a bit of AI literacy. So take the time to invest on learning how those things works, and find a good partner to do that together, because most of the people that they are not data sciences, of machine learner operators, they find difficulties to understand this. Myself, I found a lot of difficulties at the beginning. So it's just to invest the time to learn how these things go, how they work, and what the potential applications to it. Also, as I previously mentioned before, to have the ethical leadership. So do not jump or cut corners in the privacy data, unbiased data, and be transparent on that. As Valerio mentioned, be agile and adapt. So once you have done a POC, be flexible and be able to adapt. And once you see that something works, adapt your strategies to that. And also, if it doesn't work, if you chose a POC that is not a success story at the beginning, don't just be disappointed. Learn from the mistakes and evolve and really remain flexible, because this is going to stay with us. Also, what I think that is important is that to have that collaboration between different departments. For example, in CMC Group Europe, we have different departments and many companies. So one is translators, the other ones are the authoring. Then we have people that they work on the manuals. Have those departments working together with AI. The people that they work in one department that they're more technical are going to have different questions than the one that they are more focused on the linguistic part. And also foster a culture of experimentation. Leave some room for people to experiment with AI. This just not create silos like, okay, you guys are going to be the department of AI. You are going to be in charge of that, because it creates a small silo. So just be open and be able to share, because in the end, as I said, we are all going to be using this more or less. And the more we help each other to understand, the better.
Yeah, I think very rightly mentioned, it's going to stay with us, Lucas. So we have to start from somewhere. And you both mentioned about POC, and we also see a lot of POC requests, right? Our ML team is occupied with POC. Every company wants to go with a POC with at least 2 to 3 months to try and test, and then to go for a bigger project. So we definitely understand. And also AWS helps us with POC credits too. So there we have a benefit to help our customers to start to try out this POC, because these are expensive areas that companies needs to invest. So it requires a budgetary expansion as well. So thank you so much for rightly pointing out those areas where the mindset needs to be changed. And as an organization, in AWS and also in CMC, what are the cultural support you guys are getting from your companies, both of your companies? I see my company is sort of providing training materials for all of our people, so that we can be AI literate, so that we can adopt it down the line, since it's going to stay with us. So what are the cultural support that you guys are getting from your organizations?
I will go first again.
Sure. Feel free.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, one of the things to consider in the mindset is precisely people, and also Lucas mentioned it in his previous answer as well. So it's important to ensure that the people within the organization are ready for the generative AI application for data foundation. And AWS is doing the same, both internally and externally. We are receiving not only specialized people, but currently we are receiving, we are providing trainings both internally and externally to the whole workforce in AWS, because as we mentioned before, generative AI is something that it's used by different business units. Sales is using generative AI services. Marketing is using generative AI services. So we need to ensure that there is knowledge around this specific service, how they can be used and how they can bring value across the company. And this is something that it's important, also linked to the question before. The mindset should be also to have a clear and open communication top down as well, to be ensured that the whole company is aware of the mindset and the people are well enabled out of this. Talking about also externally, AWS also provide training to not only internally but also to customers for enhance their knowledge around generative AI, to make sure that the people they point to at the end of my presentation, to make sure that there is readiness around generative AI. So assess what are the skills within the people within the company, provide trainings, which again AWS provides as well to external people, and then validate this, for example, through certification. AWS also offer the possibility of getting certified, so to validate the knowledge that someone has within the company.
Awesome.
Yeah, from CMC Group side, what I've been receiving from upper management and is the room to investigate and to learn from AI. Of course, we are not as big as AWS, a company. We are way smaller, so we don't have too many people or many people dealing with AI at the moment. So there are a few people in a few markets, and they have give us the time. They have give us the room for us to be AI literate and also put us in communication with each other. Being a global company, in the past, the people in Japan were doing their job, the people in Thailand were doing their job. So now what we are doing now, since the technology is new, is we are all gathering together and discussing projects and sharing information with each other. So it's just not about AI, but the potential applications for AI. So we are all learning from each other. And one very important topic that I want to emphasize that Valerio mentioned is the top-down mentality. If this top-down mentality is not present, no project is going to succeed. And we have seen many companies where people, they start developing things on their own because they want to improve or they have ideas, and from top they cut them. It's very important that this mentality is included, it's present when it comes to AI. And it is present at CMC Group Europe. That's a good thing. So what we are indeed doing is having this cross-functional collaboration between people, and then we are given the time and the room to learn from AI. So which in the end it will benefit us internally, and it will also help us and provide similar solutions to our clients.
That is great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Valerio and Lucas, for sharing your insights. Now, if we have just about 9 minutes left, we are very on time. And now we will just see if we have any further question from the audience. Feel free to share any question that you guys have from the audience, and then we can answer and end our session with a closing remark. Any question? No, I think most of the questions has been answered already, because we had a very long
good job,
conversation.
Valerio.
And to you, Lucas.
Yeah, very good job.
And Trish, of course.
Yeah, thank you. And that brings us to the end of today's webinar, guys. A big thank you to Valerio Meucci and Lucas Donoso Pérez for joining us and sharing your expertise. And thanks to all our participants for engaging with us today. And we hope you found this session valuable, and we look forward to seeing you in our next upcoming webinar in the Global Convergence. Thank you so much, guys. Afterwards, we will share all the video links, and Valerie, if you want to share your presentation deck, would share across our attendees as well. And thank you so much, Lucas, for your time. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Tisha, for the
Been a
invitation.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Great
you.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.